So these are my top 3 mistakes to avoid when it comes to inclusive leadership. Number 1, the thing I see most often is when leaders fail to seek out new perspectives and new opinions about their work. This means that your team is vulnerable to groupthink. In other words, everybody kind of confirms everybody else's experience, and you all get tunnel vision focusing in on the things that you already know. And what you miss are new perspectives that bring in new ideas, new ways of working, and new ways of thinking. So find ways of getting feedback regularly from people outside of your immediate social circle. People who have different perspectives and different ways of thinking than you and your team. This could take the form of things like focus groups and co-design sessions. This could also mean just hiring people that bring in new levels of diversity into your team. Number 2, failing to acknowledge our own internal biases. All this means is that the way we think, the way we work has been influenced by our background, by our experience, by our families, by our friends, and everything else that's gone into making you who you are. Unconscious biases alone are not problematic, but when we don't recognize it, it can impact our team's performance. What that means is that we may not understand fully what our teammates are going through. We may not understand fully their experiences, and we may not understand fully the things that are influencing their behavior and their work. And this lack of alignment can really impact the team's performance. So you can combat this by reflecting on your own privileges, on your own opportunities, on the things that have made you who you are today. Not just the things that you might have overcome, but the things that have given you an advantage in life. Because those advantages are where unconscious bias lies. Because we tend to overlook challenges that may not have been part of our experience. And working with people from different backgrounds, different cultures, different ways of working and thinking means that we have to open up our minds to understand that the things that we've experienced may not be shared by everybody in the team. Number 3, overlooking issues around accessibility. Now, inclusion has been centered around gender and race quite a bit, but making your workplace and your leadership more inclusive means acknowledging the barriers that people with disabilities face when it comes to participating in employment, participating in the workplace, participating in basic social activities. And the impact for failing to promote accessibilities are severe. Most countries around the world have laws on the books that regulate accessibility in workplaces. And if you're an employer and you fail to comply with those regulations, that can open you up not only to lawsuits and litigation, but also very negative exposure in the media. But it's not all bad. The good news is that if you think carefully about the design of your workplaces and think about accessibility first, it'll enable not just people with disabilities to participate more actively in your workplace, it'll enable everyone to participate more actively. It'll be better for everyone there. That means you and your team will have a workplace that is more satisfying, that is more usable, that is a better experience for all. So those are my top 3 mistakes to avoid as an inclusive leader.